Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, and thank you for watching.
For the past few weeks, Central Square has played host to public property as that we have a Tragedy of the Commons issue saying Happy Holidays, Keene.
Voluntary interactions where individuals are free to act so long as they don't initiate force.
This morning, we gather to remember Sergeant Tom Ball.
Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to Free Keene TV. Sitting in for Johnny Ray, I'm Free Keene TV producer James Schlesinger.
And I'm Allie Havens. In local news tonight, Free Keene TV's own Derrick J Freeman was violently arrested this past Friday by Keene police officer Fintan Moore.
Derrick J is both a technical director for Free Keene TV as well as a correspondent. Bo Davis has put together a video showing the series of events that took place on Friday, culminating with the caging of Derrick. Before we get to that video, Allie has an editorial about the topic. Allie?
Thank you, James. In the United States, there are only two groups from whom you are likely to hear the following phrase: "Don't resist, you only make it worse for yourself." Rapists commonly use this phrase to frighten their victims into submitting to sexual assault. Unfortunately, the rapist doctrine has been accepted by some government courts to punish innocent victims of what would be considered assault or kidnapping by any other person in the case of unlawful searches and seizures made by police officers. The Fourth Amendment of the Bill of Rights supposedly protects victims of unlawful searches and seizures. The Fourth Amendment's purpose was to keep government law enforcers in check when it comes to investigating crimes so that citizens weren't subject to invasions of privacy in their persons or property. Instead of upholding this right, as the judicial system is supposed to do, courts changed their interpretation of the Constitution to protect the actions of police officers. The incentive for courts is to convict as many persons as possible, innocent or not, as revenue from these convictions keep local governments afloat and the private prison industry booming. Research incarceration rates by country to gain more perspective on this dire situation. The idea that one must submit to police investigation and possibly arrest, despite one's innocence of any crime against another human, suggests unwarranted amount of faith in local court systems to rule objectively. The right to resist unlawful arrest in most states was commonly recognized as the only real check to the arbitrary power of police up until the 1960s. In Derrick's case, he had no reason to suspect that he should be pursued by any government official. The fact that Officer Moore's detainment of Derrick was for the purpose of serving him papers, which Derrick had already been served earlier that day, shines a light on the incompetence of Officer Moore. Moore should have confirmed that Derrick had still not been served the papers before using force against an innocent man. Moore neglected to use his radio just inches from his face to confirm the lawfulness of his imminent actions, because he apparently is not expected to do so under the system he works for. I say apparently because this morning Derrick was charged by Judge Edward Burke, a man who's under investigation for corruption, with resisting arrest, disobeying an officer, and contempt of court.
Here's that video by Bo Davis.
Excuse me, now would you leave me alone? I would like to be left. Hey, you just assaulted me. What are you doing? What are you doing?
1029. Go ahead. Yeah, just information. Just got a call reporting the Free Staters are out at the high school handing out literature.
I'm in the back parking lot handing out my own literature. I'll have a stop. I'll give it to you in a minute.
Pass no flyers. Yeah.
Great. Hey, how's it going?
What? I missed the first part of that. You said they're out front at the high school handing out stuff?
10-4 handing out literature.
Well, we have a bit of a traffic snafu, so I'll try and fix that. Do we still have a trespass order for Derrick?
We do on the board. You want me to grab it?
Yep, he's right out here. I can write one up quick here.
I'm 19 right now. Do you want me to grab that and bring it to you?
No, I'll write one of ours and attach it to theirs. It's all set. Thank you.
Senior 121, I have your call number when you're ready.
That's the bad news for you from the school district.
What?
Yeah.
No one's bullshit.
It's an invitation.
But my name is spelled wrong, so this isn't me.
Did I spell it wrong?
Someone did. Kelly, did you get this? Look. Oh my I thought we were better acquainted than this. It's D-E-R-R-I-C-K.
2019. A couple of things. They were well outside the property on the sidewalk. There were no violations. They've left now anyway. And I did serve Mr. Horton a trespass letter, and will attach our copy to the one that is on the board.
I'm in pursuit of Derrick Horton on his bicycle. He's refusing to stop.
Is that what your location?
Towards River and Castle.
Yeah, 121 got in pursuit. Derrick Horton on a bicycle. River and Castle.
204142. I'm going to clear that over there.
Please take care of that paperwork.
Biking to the grocery store.
121, what's your location?
Excuse me, now would you leave me alone? I would like to be left. Hey, you just assaulted me. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Why are you hurting my
I
friend?
need assistance.
Why are you hurting my friend?
21, I can barely make you out. I copied River and Castle. Try it again.
I'm over the front lawn with him. I need assistance.
42,
Why
can
are
you
you
copy
hurting
him?
my friend?
No, but I'm going to be in his area in a second here. Eddie needs assistance.
What is going on here, Moore? Excuse me. Can you turn that siren off? It's really annoying. Can you turn this off? My neighbors are probably really upset about this. My neighbors probably don't appreciate that. Thank you.
It's just a job, man.
What's going on here?
312.
What's going on, Moore?
He's on his road. He's all jacked up, trying to sell people.
West Street by...
My camera's on the ground.
What's going
I
on
was
here?
holding a handheld. Got the
Seriously?
whole thing.
Gentlemen, what's going on here? And why was all this violence necessary? What's with all the noise? What's with all the violence?
Why are you arresting
312, looks like they are under control.
What is the problem here?
Okay, we'll back it down.
Why is this man under arrest?
There are cameras on the lawn over there somewhere. I think they
Was somebody able to get his camera for him?
It's over
No one talks to you. You guys are just some violent bastards.
Why don't you answer some questions and tell us why our friend's being arrested?
Did you get his camera?
Why is
I
this
haven't
guy
gotten
arrested?
anything.
How
I'd
about
like
you
to know
answer
why
our
my
question
friend's being
first?
arrested.
Public servant. Why is this guy being arrested?
Happening?
Where is it?
Are you a public servant?
Why are you kidnapping my friend right now?
Have you articulated a reason for this kidnapping?
Do you have a warrant? Do you have some paperwork? Is there a reason why you arrested this man? He's asking questions. Otherwise, I demand you let him go. They're arresting people without telling them why.
Are you a police?
Huh?
Is he policeman?
No. But I like, because I live here.
This is our friend.
What do you care? Get the law, you guys are not.
Because I care about my friend.
Hey, this wall put me in jail for 2 days for nothing.
Somebody pick it up.
What is this? What is going on here?
Can someone tell me what's happening? Why is that?
Why? What is he under arrest for?
What have I
Can
done?
someone please tell me why you are taking my friend right now? What did my friend do? Why are you taking him? Why did you take my friend to the ground? Why are you using violence, sir?
More normally you're a pretty nice guy. Why don't you just answer some questions? Why? And why all the noise? Why do you have to disrupt my neighborhood? Why do you have to be so violent?
Hey, why is this cop trespassing on someone's property? You got a warrant to be on that property?
Why is this arrest? And that's no. It's Fintan, right?
So I was just dropping off some papers over at the court.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand, Fintan. Why are you doing this?
Then I was coming back home.
And you had called them to let them know you're
I
coming.
called them to let them know that I was coming in.
What's going on here, Mike? What's happening?
Why is he arresting him?
Heard that they were trying to stop Derrick, and Derrick, I knew not.
Stop Derrick
For what?
And Derrick wouldn't stop.
For what? Is this because he went to court to drop some papers off?
I have no idea.
So you didn't call him? Sheriff's Department didn't call the police?
What is the cause of this?
Moore, can you answer some questions here? I mean, the public wants to know what's going on.
This guy probably wants to know why you...
What is he being arrested for?
No, here come the state code and don't walk up behind me, okay?
Call every single cop in the entire town out here to arrest one peaceful man for riding his bicycle? No explanation? You just kidnap a man and walk away with him? You guys are out of control.
Gangsters. Look at this.
I don't appreciate one bit the siren disturbing the neighbors here, and this is crazy.
Insane.
Excuse me, is it Tenny?
Yeah.
Can you explain what's going on here?
Well, you know what, I would hate to give you false information because I don't know.
So you just assisted arresting a man you don't even know what for?
Officer Moore said that he was going to be under arrest.
And you have no idea what for?
You're better off talking to Officer Moore.
Well, he won't answer any questions.
Well, because he has an arrest right now, all right? Thanks.
No thanks to you.
Why is this happening?
You know more than I do, and you seem to be a much more peaceful individual.
What's going on?
But that's why they take over custody.
Why?
I don't know. But you're if I knew, you know, I tell you. You're here in full. Whatever this is. I heard that they were trying to stop you, and Derrick wouldn't stop. So.
But why were they trying to stop him?
There's a witness over here that's saying that a policeman stuck a baton in a moving spoke wheel.
What?
I saw it.
What?
Yeah. And had the bike flip. Who does that?
Dude riding his bike. Cop, instead of saying for him to pull over, basically blasting the siren, pulls up behind him, comes up and nudges him off his bike, and or nudges his bike with the car. Basically gets out, slams a baton to the dude's wheel, and tackles it to the ground. Dude, it's excessive.
There's going to be a lawsuit. There's going to be a lawsuit. What happened?
I am on my way in.
What happened?
142, Keene. 42.
Oh, there's been an accident caused because
Can
of
you do me a
this?
favor? Log a minor motor vehicle accident for the intersection of River and Leverett. We were going to be moving to a location on West Street to sort it out.
Stuck it in the spoke and just
concentrate on
just
your
caught
case,
it.
though, because he says that's what Brinkberg has really done wrong. Hello.
How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
Good.
And you?
Do you happen to know Mr. Fintan Moore by chance? And if so,
Fintan?
and if so, would you mind having a conversation, a couple minutes?
Don't come on this property.
Oh, don't worry, we're not.
We're not.
But today, Fintan Moore went on someone else's property and kidnapped and caged one of our friends for no reason.
Oh, I think she was being very
Yeah,
suspicious in the way.
yeah, she knew why we were here, and she just wanted to not have that interaction.
One of our own outrageous crimes. Derrick just laughed.
Camera's filming.
Tapping out tabs for troubled times. Peace, waging peace, liberty, peace on earth, peace to all. Free Derrick J.
Derrick was arraigned this morning in Keene District Court. His bail has been set for $5,000.
Derrick's arrest was talked about on several local blogs, including freekeene.com and Ladies in Keene, a Keene area blog. Allie is a blogger at Ladies in Keene as well as a host for the Ladies in Keene radio show. The blog has recently posted an article that brings into question the journalistic practices and integrity of the Keene Sentinel.
Mouthpiece for the state or just lazy journalism? The title says it all about this post by Cecilia. She reprints the write-up from the Keene Sentinel and highlights some of the mistakes she finds.
She points out that witnesses confirm Officer Moore struck the bicyclist with his car, as well as the fallacy that Derrick somehow forced Officer Moore to chase him. Officer Moore knew that Derrick had been given the government paper, and one has to wonder whether this harassment has ulterior motives. Once again, the Keene Sentinel shows journalism is not necessary when you are a bed partner with the state.
For our next segment, James has a special report about a New York City police officer.
Thank you, Allie. Adrien Schoolcraft is an 8-year veteran of the New York Police Department. At some point, Adrien began carrying around a small hidden voice recorder to document his interactions with the public as a means to protect himself. At some point, the records became less about those he had sworn to serve and protect and more about his co-workers, the other NYPD officers. I covered the story a couple weeks back during my weekly co-hosting gig for Free Talk Live. There was a recent competition to create a video about the Adrien Schoolcraft situation with a focus on how mental illness is used to discredit and demonize individuals. This is the video I created.
A New York police officer tonight breaking the infamous blue wall of silence.
That officer claims he has secretly recorded tapes proving the department has a quota system and is manipulating crime statistics.
Adrien Schoolcraft is a New York City policeman who decided to secretly record himself and his fellow officers on the job all day, every workday, he says, for 17 months, including lots of days when he was ordered to do all kinds of things cops are not supposed to do. It's led to a small scandal, several people removed from their jobs, and 4 investigations of the New York Police Department.
I wasn't meeting their undocumented quota, the non-quota quota.
Officer Adrien Schoolcraft, an 8-year veteran, spoke about how a top-down pressure to make summons quotas corrupted policing in the 81st Precinct.
Adrien Schoolcraft says he isn't exactly sure when, but at some point he decided that it was important to document the orders that he was given, that he thought were out of line. He recorded roll calls where officers were constantly being told to do more stop and frisks, even though it's illegal to stop a random person on the street and frisk them without reasonable suspicion. In December 2008, a sergeant tells officers to stop and frisk, quote, anybody walking around, no matter what the explanation is.
They were just reacting. When they grab bodies off the street, when the inspector refers to them as bodies, how many bodies have I got in the cells?
Schoolcraft says day in and day out it was all about the numbers, with little respect for people's rights.
I want 250 to see something. I want a ghost town. I want to be able to echo from one end of the street to the other. You understand? That's what I want in a perfect world.
What happens next to Adrien Schoolcraft is very, very strange. Just a few weeks after his meetings with Internal Affairs and QAD, he shows up to work. It's the end of October.
As soon as I sit down, a lieutenant approaches me and asks for my activity log. Well, this activity log is where I keep a lot of my notes regarding what people are saying and the times they're saying it.
And all the things, basically, you're trying to report that you think are going wrong in the precinct.
Correct. And it wasn't until I got it back that I realized the cat was out of the bag. He had bent the corners on some of the pages, and I saw what piqued his interest. And I became very worried how he was looming around me, and I felt threatened by it. I'm not just an officer inside. Now I'm an officer that has this psych issue. No one's supposed to know, but everyone knows that when you have your gun and shield taken, you've been psyched, and you have that brand on you. So what's going to happen? Are they going to say I lunged at him? Or are they going to... Any kind of scenario could play out, and I just didn't feel comfortable, so I left.
How he left is in dispute. Schoolcraft says that he told a sergeant that he was feeling sick and went home an hour early. The police say the sergeant never said yes to this request. In any case, Schoolcraft went home and went to bed.
A few hours later, I received a phone call from my father, and he told me he received a phone call from my XO. He says, look outside your window. And I looked out my window, and there were multiple police vehicles, and there seemed to be quite a crowd.
Adrien has no idea what they want, but he knows the situation is bad. so he starts recording.
31 October 2009.
The officers open Adrian's door, the key they get from his landlord.
Adrian! Police department, buddy. Let me see your hands.
They've just entered my home, and they were in their helmets and gear and tasers. They had the special weapons, basically SWAT.
I normally get up and answer it. They were kicking on that door loud and yelling.
I wasn't feeling well.
All right, sit down. Sit down.
That voice you just heard in Adrian's bedroom is a man of much higher rank than anybody in any of the recordings to this point. He's the number 2 commander for the NYPD for all of Brooklyn North, Michael Marino. Stephen Mariello, the head of the 81st Precinct, the commander that Adrian contends had been putting pressure on all the officers to deliver better numbers, is also there in the bedroom. He talks next.
You got everybody worried. You worried about your safety, all right?
Worried about what?
What do you mean worried about what? They try calling you. Everybody's been calling you. You just walk out of the precinct. You know? That's what we're worried about. Your safety, your well-being.
All right, I'm fine.
Why does he keep saying that? He's worried about your safety.
That's his excuse to come into my home.
Get your stuff on and we're going back to the precinct.
I'm not going back to the precinct.
Adrian, we gotta go back to the precinct.
For?
Because we're gonna do it the right way. You can't just walk out of command.
What's gonna be done if I go to the 8-1?
What's gonna be done? We're gonna go investigate why you left.
Tell me why I left. I was feeling sick.
Adrian, that's not the reason why you leave. All right? You know that.
Adrian knows the rules, and he asks if he's under arrest. He's not under arrest.
You get up like a man and put your shoes on and walk
Like
into
a
that
man.
bus like a man. Well, son, they're going to treat you as an EDP, and that means handcuffs, and I do not want to see that happen to a cop.
EDP is?
Emotionally disturbed person.
I'm laying right here until I feel better.
Okay, son. He's EDP.
Now that Deputy Chief Marino has labeled Schoolcraft EDP, the police take Schoolcraft and commit him to a psychiatric ward, saying he was a danger to himself. Schoolcraft had spent months documenting his bosses telling cops to lock people up on contrived pretenses, now found himself locked up on contrived pretenses. Schoolcraft assumes that he'll never again work as a police officer anywhere. Is it weird not to be a policeman anymore?
It feels odd.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I am a policeman. I'm going forward with this investigation. I just feel like this is my case. This is the one. And I'll go all the way with it.
And finally, with the 81st Precinct under new supervision, the numbers on serious crime have risen by 10 to 15%. Either crime's going up, or that's closer to the true amount of crime that was already there, only now being recorded.
He now has a website, schoolcraftjustice.com, that he says has been flooded with responses from other cops.
This video simply does not do the story justice, so I'm also working on an extended version that will reveal more of the secret recordings Adrian made.
Thank you for that, JJ. Police accountability is a challenging task to undertake between the red tape and the thin blue line. Those who hold the sword of the state accountable often find themselves in jail or dead.
One method of holding police accountable is recording them with video and audio, but this seemingly unintrusive act can often ruffle the feathers of law enforcement.
Simon Glik was arrested in 2007 and brought up on wiretapping charges while using his cell phone to record the arrest of another man.
Simon was at the Boston Commons and started recording after hearing an observer tell the police, quote, "You are hurting him, stop," unquote.
Simon Glik filed a civil rights lawsuit with the help of the Massachusetts ACLU against the city of Boston. The First Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously ruled in favor of Glik. Less than 2 weeks ago, the city of Boston settled the lawsuit and agreed to pay Simon $170,000.
I would like the viewer to note that when an individual goes against the state, the punishment is quick and severe. But when the state has done wrong, it may take 5 years or more to get real justice. This is why the concept of justice within the paradigm of the state is nothing more than a fantasy.
Recently, the New Hampshire Attorney General sent out a memorandum to all the law enforcement agencies. The memo ultimately informed the officers that they will be liable for false arrests of camera people.
So long as the individual does not prevent the officer from conducting his duties, the state of New Hampshire recognizes the right to record public officials.
You can find a copy of this memo posted to the Free Keene blog at freekeene.com.
This episode will be posted there as well. And this begins our opinion segment of the show. And the thing that I'd like to talk about, the Derrick story is huge. And there's a couple key points that I wanted to make, one of which was Officer Moore's reaction to the situation. After he had taken Derrick to the ground, chased him in his car, you could tell in the video he was very out of breath. He was very excited. He couldn't even talk over his radio. In fact, one of his coworkers,
he was, you know, so out of breath he had to call for backup for just one guy who was totally submitting to him.
Yes, right. And the activists, especially Derrick, has a history of being peaceful and not acting in any violent manner that would require any sort of backup. But yet, state police were there. You had the sheriff and Keene police. So they called out all these individuals working in protective manners to come in and apprehend a guy on a bicycle. That seems,
well, you know, Derrick's a VIP, a very important prisoner. So
just makes me think, I wonder if they had the Bearcat, if they would have brought that out.
Oh, you know they would.
You know, we got a guy on a bike, let's bring the Bearcat, and helicopters, get some dogs.
Get some dogs, exactly.
Justify our job and that expensive tax.
I thought one of the worst things about that whole thing was that they never even gave anyone a reason why the arrest was made in the first place or the pursuit of Derrick. Like, Derrick didn't know why the officer was pulling him over, and then, you know, when people from the public came out to ask why, there was no answer given. And then when they tried to ask the other officers, they said, oh, talk to Moore. And when they said, well, we tried to talk to Moore, he didn't answer, they said, oh, well, it's because he has an arrest.
Yeah, I think it's more like Officer Moore felt bad, like he did the wrong thing. I mean, seriously, you pull over a guy on a bike, you can't expect that the one-size-fits-all solution of the state, which is violence, will have some sort of like notch down or tone down, or it's going to be a little less. No, see, the state and the police, they pretty much know that a boot to the back of the head or a knee on the throat. I've seen various individuals do all sorts of crimes in which they harmed no one and did nothing actually wrong, but yet they observed and felt the physical punishment of the force of the police force. And
it ain't right.
They're getting carried away. Well, thank you for watching. Tune in every Monday to Channel 8 in the Cheshire County or to Cheshire TV's Ustream account for the next live episode.
You can also send an email to tv@freekeene.com for questions or comments. I'm Allie Havens.
And I'm James Schlesinger. Peace be with you.